This podcast is sponsored by nobody. Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today I will be welcoming back my good friend, the beautiful, the talented, the hilarious Alyson Croft is coming back on the show, and we're going to nerd out on the entertainment of our youth. And this is going to be a good one because we're a decade apart, so a lot of the stuff I like, was passed on down to me from my brother in childhood. So we're going to have another great conversation. I always love talking to Alyson. She's so funny and so sweet and smart and just a talented lady. I just love her so much. And she's a great acting teacher as well. Oh my God, she's got high remarks on Yelp. Like, people love her so much, and it's going to be a great conversation today, and I cannot wait. I've had her on, God, this is the 5th time I've had her on and stuff. So yeah, here is my new interview with Alyson Croft. Hey, Alyson, welcome back. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Tommy?
Just another day in paradise. All moved into our new place. It's quiet, beautiful, and boring.
Oh, well, boring is sometimes really good.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's on a secluded street. It's a quiet neighborhood, so that's good.
Yeah, that is good.
Yes.
And your mom?
So, going back in time, do you remember the first movie that impacted you as a child?
So there's a couple, but yes. My dad took me to see The Elephant Man when I was 6
Wow.
at the theater. Yeah, he still is certain that he knew what the movie was. I think he thought it was about an elephant and thought, oh, this would be good for a 6-year-old.
Wow, The Elephant Man. Oh my God, that really had to impact you.
Oh my God, yeah. So at the end, all he said about it, all I remember was just it was being very dark and it was, somewhat scary. But I remember saying, I just don't understand why they were so mean to him.
Yeah.
And my dad goes, okay, that's all I wanted from you after seeing that movie.
Wow.
I thought, and it really did shape like how I looked at people and how other people, looked at people.
Oh, that's so adorable. Little Alyson Croft learning empathy from watching The Elephant Man.
Hell yeah. Yeah, but it's a great movie. I mean, it was well acted. I mean, it was really dark, though. It certainly left an impact. And then the next one would be Annie, for sure.
Yeah.
That one I wanted to be Annie for sure. My mom made, I remember coming home one day from school and she had made one of the outfits, like the sailor outfit. It was blue with a white lapel. My mom was really good with making stuff. She was really a gifted artist all the way around. And so I remember coming home and seeing that Annie outfit hanging by my door that she had made. And that was such a great moment. I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, we got HBO in the summer of '84, and my earliest movies were like Cannonball Run and The Shining and stuff like that. But the first movie that truly impacted me was Back to the Future, because my parents used to let me look at their yearbooks, and I always had that fantasy of going back in time and seeing them in high school and finding out why they're so fucked up and I'm so fucked up,
I love that movie. You're a little younger than me, so
Yeah.
that came out, I don't know how old I was.
85.
85. Yeah, I mean, I loved it when it came out. Everybody did. It was like when going to the movies was like sacred kind of thing,
Yeah.
It was good. Love that movie.
Well, I was born in '83. My brother was born in '73, so a lot of stuff I like is because of him.
Your brother, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, my brother was 4 years older, so 4.5. And so he was onto a different thing. We were never, too much into the same stuff.
I didn't realize you had an older brother.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I mean, My brother, he taped everything off of HBO back in the day. We had, oh my God.
Well, you were fancy. You had HBO in the 80s? Wow, I didn't. We didn't even have cable.
Oh yeah, June of '84 was probably around the time we got it. And we had all the teen sex comedy movies like Porky's and Revenge of the Nerds and Zapped and The Wildlife. And he had a weird obsession with medieval sword and sorcery epics. He used to watch like Kroll and The Neverending Story and Labyrinth and Highlander.
Neverending Story.
Yeah. Oh God, I remember the day where we're watching The Neverending Story. My mom cried when the horse drowned.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who was the kid that was in that? Noah Hathaway.
Noah Hathaway.
Yeah, we ended up doing a couple commercials together, I think, after that.
Yeah, Katie Barberi told me she went to high school with him.
Yeah. You should look out. Have you hit him up to talk to?
It's funny, I met him twice, and the second time I met him, I had just started the podcast, and I asked him to come on, and he was having kind of a bad day. He told me he had just had back surgery, and he actually wanted to cancel his appearance at that con, but he had to do it. And so, like, we exchanged information, but I never heard back from him, unfortunately.
I think his wife was doing his booking stuff.
Yeah, and we just became Facebook friends, so there's a chance there.
Yeah, you should. You should, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, God, I love Troll that he was in. You know, I told him when I first met him, I said, you know, I'm from San Francisco. That is not San Francisco. That is Italy.
What?
Yeah, because Charlie Band, you know, he shot a lot of his movies up in Italy, you know.
I know. I did one in there.
Yeah, so transfers. But, like, yeah, and so, like, they made Italy, they tried to make Italy look like San Francisco. It's not by any means.
Yeah.
There, you know, and if you go in San Francisco, there's all those, you know, hills and bumps on the streets and stuff. There was none of that in this movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Wow. And when Charlie Band just got married to, like, a very young woman.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure she's young. I know that he lost his son not too long ago.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. His son, I don't know how he passed. He passed probably about a year ago, though.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Aw, man.
I know.
That's sad.
It is sad, you know. When I hear about
I am.
When I hear about people losing kids that young, oh my God, it hurts me. It really does.
Oh, my goodness, that's horrible. I ran into him somewhere. I was doing something on at an event for like kidneys or something. It was like a kidney, it was a organ transplant, kidneys something, and I believe it was like Charlie's son's wife had some kidney issues, I believe.
Wow.
But anyway, so we were on the carpet interviewing people as they came in and saw him, and he goes, oh, if you're friends with my dad, don't ask me. I don't have any money.
Yeah.
he goes, anybody who's friends with my dad, my dad usually owes them money. And I was like, oh, no, he doesn't owe me any money. I'm good. He goes, oh, good. You're the one of few, you know?
Yeah.
Like, jeez.
Oh, yeah, people have told me stories about Charlie owing them money.
I mean, luckily I never had that experience. I just loved him. He was just so great to me and crazy and fun and always on top of it. He was good.
Well, one thing that Troll has in common with Trancers is that there's just like in Trancers with Baby McNulty, you know, saying to Helen Hunt, "Hey, who's the babe? Nice." Jenny Beck is like possessed by the male troll, and she's like getting kind of flirty with Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
In Troll?
Yeah. I don't know. Charlie had a flair for that kind of humor to make, you know, little girls, you know, all possessed and making them look like lesbians.
Oh.
You're a John Hughes gal. What are your favorites?
Oh boy, Tommy. Let's see. Okay, I will go first and foremost. Pretty in Pink.
Yes.
Absolute favorite. And then 16 Candles. just because that one is fun to, like, not recreate, but, like, you know when you watch a movie and you know the dialogue?
Yeah.
Right. With friends. So that one is fun for me just with friends, you know, because all those, like, one-liners are just so great. Farmer Ted, and anyway, so that. And then, but I really love Pretty in Pink all the way around. Like, it's been joked that I've learned everything I know about love from John Hughes films.
Yeah.
And that's not wrong. Right?
Yeah.
But it's so true. Like, I guess maybe because, like, my parents didn't talk to me about, like, love and all that, like, how to have a good relationship or anything like that. So I was, like, raised a lot based on what I watched and TV and stuff.
Same here. And that's why I'm still single, you know?
Yeah, right? I'm like, maybe that's why I'm still single, too. No.
I think our time will come. We'll learn.
Yeah, but the scary part is I just absolutely love James Spader in that role, in that movie.
Yeah,
Not that
God.
I liked him, but I just, as an actor, I was always like, man, he's just such a great asshole. Like, he's the perfect asshole in this movie.
Always, he's a sleaze, like in Tough Turf, which he plays the lead in. He's so great in that, playing just a smart-ass rich kid.
Oh, he had that on lock.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was so good. It was just so good. There's so much, you know, like, that's the one I know trivia about, like, the alternate endings that they had, where she ends up with Ducky, actually, and then she was like, no, my character would not end up with Ducky. So then they did an alternate ending once the audience saw it, and was like, yeah, no, we want her to end up with Blaine, and so then they did that ending. I just loved Annie Potts in it. I loved the record shop. I loved the music, the social dynamic between them all. I don't know. It's just a perfect movie.
Annie Potts. I told him he's my kid.
What'd you say?
I told him he's my kid.
Yeah, I told him he's my kid. Ever since you left me in the back seat of your car. Yeah. Right up in the back seat of my car. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I saw the 30th anniversary screening back in 2016, and all the alphas were like going crazy when they saw Andrew Dice Clay in it.
Oh yeah, he was so good in it too.
Yeah, and I have his book. He came up with that thing that he does with the cigarette for the first time while filming this movie, while he had the camera on him and stuff. John Hughes just told him just do anything, you know, and he just came up with that cigarette move, and then he started doing it on stage, and it became his signature move.
Oh, I did not know that. That's cool.
Yeah, he had never done it before.
I used to go to the gym with that guy.
Really?
Him, but I'd go to the gym and he'd be working out next to me, and he was just so, like, I never talked to him, but I was just like, yeah, pretty much Andrew Dice Clay doing Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah.
Loud.
Yeah.
You know, kind of loud, talking to his girlfriend or whoever he was with.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, though.
The Breakfast Club is like one of my top 3 favorite movies of all time.
All time. Yeah.
I know every word of dialogue from start to finish. I once quoted the first 10 minutes to a girl on a date once, and I got laid that night.
Ooh, I guess that's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Weird Science was the first movie my parents ever took me to at the drive-in, and
oh boy,
it was the first movie, and then Rambo 2 was the second movie, and I kind of remember it a little bit, and just it had an impact on me. And then when it hit HBO in the summer of '86, we had it on tape with Porky's Revenge, and I couldn't watch Porky's Revenge. And my mom, I think she saw me trying to watch it, and she took the tape and threw it on the roof.
Oh, that's good.
She did that with a couple tapes.
4, 5 years old? How old were you?
I was like 3, 4, maybe.
Yeah, no. You shouldn't be watching Porky.
No.
Did you get it? How did you know what was going on?
Well, I didn't see the movie uncut until my teen years, but I saw it cut up on like USA Network or something, and so I didn't really have a frame of reference for how dirty this movie was until I was like 14, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
But the first John Hughes movie I could remember seeing was Mr. Mom.
Yeah, isn't that wild that that's a John Hughes movie? Like, I don't really think of that movie as being part of his, but yeah, that was a great movie. Jeez.
No, but you know what? Even the ones that you don't really consider Hughes movies, you can kind of see his mind in these films and just the way he constructed things, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
which is just so phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, God,
Kind of Wonderful is another one.
Some Kind of Wonderful is great. Yeah, it's pretty pink in reverse.
It's what?
Some Kind of Wonderful is pretty in pink in reverse.
Right, yeah. Yeah, right. Like the female ducky. Mm-hmm.
And of course, everybody loves Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's all
God.
classics. Okay, it's like all babies. Like, how do you tell which baby you like the best? It's hard.
Yeah.
Hard to do.
I remember renting Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Top Gun the same day when they first came out, and I was scared. In Ferris Bueller's Day Off, when he's got the mannequin sleeping in his bed, and he's got the snoring on the stereo, and he's like, "Good night, nighty night," and that scared me as a kid.
Oh my God, the snoring, the fake snoring or whatever.
The snoring, and then nighty night, that scared me as a kid. Like,
Poor Tommy.
I used to get scared by the craziest things, like the clowns in Pee-wee's Big Adventure used to terrify me.
I never saw that fully from end to end. I just thought he was so, I don't know, maybe it was just my age or something.
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, I'm sure I've seen it from start to finish, but I don't recall a time ever just sitting down and being like, I'm going to watch Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah. It's the best movie he made of the three, and it's just an enchanting movie. And Tim Burton, it was his first movie, and like he was so well beyond his years, like you knew he was going to be the great filmmaker he became.
Who?
Tim Burton.
Oh yeah, for sure. Tim Burton. That's Tim Burton.
I used to watch Gary Coleman movies like Jimmy the Kid and On the Right Track, which I love. You remember those movies?
Sort of, not really though.
Remember Savannah Smiles?
Yes.
Yeah, Bridget Anderson. She died of a drug overdose, sadly. Yeah, I love that movie. I that's like one of the kid movies that I could watch over and over again.
You know what's really sad about her? Not only the drug stuff, but when she started to come back into the business.
Yeah.
A friend of mine was in acting class with her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was right around that time. And then she died.
Ugh.
She was on the right path. It's so scary with drug overdose because you don't know, like nowadays you can't touch anything because you get a fleck, a dust petal of fentanyl and you're a goner,
Yeah.
You have no idea what they're putting it in. But, usually like if someone's an addict or whatever and then they stop, and then what kills them is they go back, when they go back to it, or if they sadly go back to doing the same amount they were doing before, right?
Yeah.
Not accounting for the fact that, or maybe accounting for the fact that they've kind of cleaned their body out, so now they'll really feel the high, but then they just overdose themselves so much, and then their body can't take it, It's so sad. I mean,
I know.
Stories like that.
I know, it's a weird phenomenon. It's sad. Yeah, my dad and I used to watch R-rated movies when my mom wasn't home. We'd see like all the Dirty Harry movies because my dad loves Clint Eastwood, even though they don't agree politically. And we'd see like Eddie Murphy movies like 48 Hours, and then like the Blues Brothers and Animal House, stuff like that.
Animal House. I think that was like one of my dad. My dad liked Animal House. I was never really into those. But I did watch Revenge of the Nerds.
Mm-hmm.
That one I remember renting at the Blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I had friends coming over. I was just like, that's about the tip of where we would go when it came to like a dirty, like comedy kind of.
Yeah.
And that was it. Porky's was too much.
Yeah. Do you remember your first drive-in experience?
My first what?
Drive-in experience?
Oh, man. I don't know. Maybe Sound of Music?
Oh, it was like a revival?
Yeah, because my mom loved Sound of Music, and of course, me being the kid I was, loved it, and Mary Poppins. So those two I remember we went and saw at the drive-in, and then I was hooked forever. You couldn't take me to the theater, though. I was one of those really obnoxious kids. Like, remember when they used to have, like, a stage in front of the screen?
Yeah.
So, of course, if we got there at any time early, I'd be up on the stage doing goofy shit because I don't know what was wrong with me, but, you know, I just thought, oh, there's people gathered, they're seated, they're looking at the stage. Well, here I am. I don't know. Wild.
Yeah, I mean...
No wonder my brother didn't like me.
Yeah. My parents took me to see, they took me to see Spies Like Us, The Golden Child, Star Trek 4, Heartbreak Ridge. They took me to see the Michael J. Fox movie, Light of Day. And I remember that night because my mom had to go to the snack bar and complain about something, and I saw Charlie Chaplin for the first time. There was like a stand-up cardboard poster of him for like Bagley's cookies. And I was like, hey, Mommy, I want a cookie just like that man has. And she's like, you don't get a cookie, I'm mad.
Goonies was another one. We're talking about kid stuff, right?
Yeah.
Goonies. And then if we move over to TV, let's see. Greatest American Hero.
Mm-hmm.
Three's Company for sure should get top spot for me. I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
Gidget.
Mm-hmm.
And then because TV was so, like, there was no cable, there was no cable, there was nothing else. You know, you watch your shows, you got to be there at that time when they air, or you miss it.
In those days, yeah.
Yeah, in those days. I mean, it was great. It wasn't great for me at school because you couldn't avoid me in terms of, like, these kids would go home and watch cartoons, and then there would be Alyson selling you some toy, or selling you some Barbie, or selling you something, and then they couldn't, like, escape me,
yeah.
I guess, because there was nothing else. You couldn't change the channel. I mean, you could, but, like, if you wanted to watch Saturday morning cartoons or afternoon cartoons, there was only 1 or 2 or 3 channels you could even choose from, you know? But the shows I wouldn't miss would be, like, The Family Ties.
Oh, yes. You were on there.
Yeah. What else did I watch religiously? Not the Connors, because that's now Roseanne.
Yeah.
Loved Roseanne. My parents loved Roseanne.
Yeah.
So, you know, we all kind of like that. What else? What are the other things that were on Cosby Show?
Yeah.
These are like you can't miss. Like, oh, I got to be home at such and such time because I got to watch my episode of that. And
I was like that with Out of This World. I had to get home at 3 to watch Out of This World because I was just in love with Evie.
And Out of This World, is that Christina Nigro?
She was on there towards the end, yeah.
Oh, that's Donna Pescow.
Donna Pescow, Maureen Flanagan was Evie, who I liked. The comedian Buzz Belmondo was on there, and Doug McClure, rest in peace.
Yeah, what was the other one? So the other one was Small Wonder.
Small Wonder, yep.
Mm-hmm. That was another kid one.
You were on that one.
Yeah. Punky, of course.
Punky, yeah. Webster
and Mr. Belvedere.
Mr. Belvedere, a huge Mr. Belvedere fan. I was watching some episodes when I was preparing to talk to Tracy Wells because I grew up watching that show. It had been a while since I watched it. I can't believe how irreverent that show could be.
Does it still hold up?
I think it does. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple jokes in there, and I'm like, oh God, you couldn't get away with that today. Like, there's one where Tracy and the kid who played Wesley, they're playing some board game, and after Tracy loses, Wesley says to her, "Okay, now you have to take off your shirt." That's creepy for a little brother to say that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably wouldn't get away with that today.
No.
Have you reached out to Bryce?
I was thinking about it. Yeah, I could reach out to him.
I mean, I don't know if he'll say yes or no, but I know he's around, and maybe he would.
I would like to talk to Rob Stone. He's an interesting guy.
I don't know who that is.
He's the older brother. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah, Greatest American Hero was a favorite of mine, and I met William Catt at a convention, and my dad looked exactly like him when I was a kid, had a big old curly afro, and so I showed him a picture of my dad when I met him, and he said, "Oh my God, I could be your uncle."
Oh my God. And Silver Spoons.
Yeah.
I remember my brother was on that show doing something. I can't remember if he...
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, like a couple lines or something like that. And so we were there, and I was young. Remember, I'm 4.5 years younger. So however old they were all 4.5 years younger. But my mom married, but had a crush on the dad.
Mm-hmm.
She would just politely say if ever we were watching the show, "He's a very handsome man. Don't you think so, Alyson?" I'm like, "I guess, whatever."
Yeah.
And so when we got to set and they did the live audiences,
Yeah.
my mom and I were going backstage to retrieve my brother, and I ran into the dad. I was like, "My mom has a huge crush on you, so I just think..." My mom died. She was like purple. She was so embarrassed. I'm like, "That's why you don't tell me anything, because I will tell everybody." At that time.
Yeah, the dad was Joel Higgins.
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh, that's so nice." And my mom was hot, looking back, I'm like, "Wow, she's a pretty lady."
Erin Gray, she was on Buck Rogers.
I loved Erin Gray. She was so pretty too.
Yeah, she's one I'd like to interview, but I haven't been able to make the connection.
Where's she been?
What's that?
Where has she been?
I have no idea. I do know she has done some podcast interviews, but I don't know how to connect with her.
Oh, neat. Yeah. That's a good one too. Jeez.
Did you have did you watch like children's programming like Reading Rainbow and all that?
I did not watch Reading Rainbow.
Okay. Yeah, that's more of my generation. We had Reading Rainbow, Slim Goodbody, Today's Special, which I interviewed an actress who was on Today's Special recently, and she's like, "Are you from Canada?" And I'm like, "No, I'm from California." And she's like, "That was such a Canadian show. I never even met an American who's seen Today's Special." I was like, "Yeah, it was on I think Nickelodeon or PBS, one of the shows, one of the channels when I was a kid." And she's like, "Wow, I am impressed. I did not know that."
That's great.
Yeah.
Land of the Lost, is that Canadian?
Which one?
Land of the Lost?
Yes, I saw the ABC Saturday morning one with Timothy Bottoms when I was a kid, and then I discovered the original later, and I love the original. That is so classic.
I mean, I can't watch that today, but when I was young, I really liked that show.
Yeah.
Like, that was totally realistic to me. And now you watch it and you're like, how is that at all realistic?
Oh, I'd see the Saturday morning cartoons, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Kid Video, Smurfs, Galaxy High, Pound Puppies.
So we did He-Man, She-Ra.
Yep, I did too.
Do you remember Robotech?
Oh, yeah. What was that one called? The GoBots?
I don't think I saw that one. I only watched Robotech because my brother was way into Robotech. And then they pulled it for some reason, but it was like the first kind of, I don't want to say like anime, but it was like the first of its kind in terms of a different kind of cartoon.
Yeah.
That had like storyline and emotions and like, it was good. I just remember it being good, and then it wasn't on for very long.
Yeah, I remember when the major networks would do like the fall preview for Saturday morning cartoons. I remember the 1986 one. We actually had it on tape for many years, and now I can watch it on YouTube. Alvin and the Chipmunks take over a junior high school, and there's Joey Lawrence, Soleil Moonfry, Jack A. is the secretary of the school, John Hoyt is like, I think, the principal, and then Richard Mole from Night Court is the gym teacher.
Wow.
And what's his name? Skippy, Mark Price. He's the kid who writes for the school newspaper.
No way. Was it animated?
No. It's live action. You get to see animated clips inserted in there. And Alvin and the Chipmunks, they had like dwarfs inside costumes, like Debbie Lee Carrington.
I see. I never saw that. That is so fascinating to me.
It's on YouTube.
Where's Price? because he was great as Skippy.
Mark does stand-up still. I had him on a couple of years ago, and I had met him before doing stand-up in the Bay Area. He's a very sweet guy.
Yeah, he was sweet real sweet, real, just a nice guy to kind of hang around with and wasn't ego-y or anything.
Oh, yeah, he's got great stories about Sam Kinison and all these comedians that he knew when he was playing at the Comedy Store back in the 80s. He's a good guy. Let's see, you remember Kids Incorporated?
I did. I do remember it. I just didn't really watch it that much, but I'm friends with most of those people.
Like Ryan, yeah.
Yeah, Ryan Lambert? Yeah.
Yeah, you connected me with him.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, back in 2020.
Oh, cool. How? We still chat occasionally,
Yeah. Yeah, I just had...
For you?
What's up?
Was he a good interview for you?
I interviewed him in 2020. Yeah, he was cool. I mean, we were related to, like, he lived in the Bay Area for a while, and I told him I was from there and stuff, and he was really cool. I think he got kind of territorial, though, when I was talking about Fergie, because she was on the show and stuff. And, I'm not a big fan of the whole, pop diva craze that has come out since, the days past Madonna and stuff, but it was a great interview. We had fun.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
They're finding all the success now with the Monster Squad or whatever the name of that movie is.
Love that movie. I've talked to many people from it, including Andre Gower.
Did you talk to Andre?
Andre's been on, yeah. I had him on shortly before he had that heart issue.
Oh, yeah, that's scary.
Yeah. And he was impressed that I knew who his sister was. I was like, yeah, she was in the Poseidon Adventure.
Oh, wow. Nice guy. Very nice guy.
Very nice guy. Remember every year HBO would you probably didn't have HBO yet, but they would show the worst witch every Halloween season?
Nope.
Yeah, Fairuza Balk, she goes to this witch academy in London, and Charlotte Ray from The Facts of Life is the principal, and she's the principal's evil twin sister who's a witch, and Diana Rigg plays the teacher who hates her and wants her to fail, and then Tim Curry is the Grand Wizard Witch who ends up taking her for a ride on his cape at the end. Yeah, it was on HBO every Halloween for about 20 years, and then they stopped playing it, sadly. And Fairuza Balk is going to be at a convention soon. Hopefully I'll get to meet her. I'll have her sign my DVD cover of it.
Amazing. I love her.
Yeah, remember when she was Dorothy in Return to Oz?
I don't.
That's the scariest movie ever made. I watched it again a few years ago. It's still scary.
Really? I should see that.
They really executed it well because it was Jim Henson. It was his production people, making all the puppets and everything. He had nothing to do with the overall production, but it was scary the way they did it. It was dark. It was a very dark movie. It was kind of true to the original book because the 1939 movie, they kind of made it a little less scary for kids at the time, even though some kids were afraid of the flying monkeys and the witch.
Right.
But they took it a step further. They had all these guys on roller skates that were really scary and stuff.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. How about HBO comedy specials?
Well, you'd have to read them out to me because I didn't have HBO ever.
That's right. I forgot. But did you have comedy albums and get into comedy that way?
No.
No, because I know you do love comedy.
I do love comedy. Yeah. I mean, I love Eddie Murphy's Raw was always great.
Oh, God, we had Delirious on tape with 48 Hours, and, my dad and I, we'd watch 48 Hours when my mom wasn't home, and so, I had to go in my room when Delirious was on, and I saw it on my own when I was 14, and I'm hearing all these jokes that my dad used to quote around the house that I thought were his.
And he's just pilfering from Eddie.
Yeah, he'd say, goony goo goo, or, ha ha, it's just too ridiculous, like Desi Arnaz.
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Yeah, and I got into it that way. And of course, Sam Kinison from the time I was 2 on that Rodney Dangerfield special, like he was my hero. And then I got into Dice later, and Bobcat, and George Carlin, and Stephen Wright.
Yeah, George Carlin. I'm still a huge fan.
I know. Did you see that AI special?
No.
I refuse to watch it, and I've had his daughter Kelly on the show, and like she's suing over that.
Oh. Wow.
Suing over that AI special. I refuse to watch it because
I didn't even know there was one.
yeah, it came out like 6 months ago or something, and yeah, she's been very upset about it ever since. And the only thing AI I have ever listened to was what was it? It was like an AI Frank Sinatra singing "Highway to Hell" from AC/DC. And it was so awful. And it was kind of creepy too. There was some laughter in the background of this song, and I was like, "Who's that? The guys who made this laughing?"
Yeah.
It was spooky. I was like, "I won't do AI. That's awful."
Yeah. AI sucks.
Richard Pryor live in concert.
Yeah, Richard Pryor. I don't. What did I don't even know which comedy specials that I could remember from that time. I just like.
It's easy to remember what they were wearing.
What?
It's easy to remember what they were wearing.
Yeah, right. I liked Bill Cosby's. And then, I mean, Ellen maybe.
Ellen DeGeneres. I love her second HBO half hour when she's doing that bit about being in the park and getting attacked by the bees.
I don't know if that was the one. It was the one where she comes out at the end or whatever. It's addressing her.
Yeah, she's getting attacked by these bees, and then there's all these rappers that are in the park, and they're like, go, Ellen, get stupid." Yeah, that was a good one. Bob Nelson, I remember he had an HBO special where he's like going in and out of these doors on stage and playing all these different characters.
Oh, like that.
Yeah, I remember he's like, someone said to him when he was a kid, what are you going to do with your life, Nelson? Where are you going to go? And he's like, I don't know, HBO. Yeah, I remember that one. God, there were so many. Every time a special was on, I didn't care if I wasn't familiar with the comedian. I would watch it because there were so many back then.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I discovered Charles Fleischer, Kevin Pollak on there, and this one guy that I got to know doing stand-up in the Bay Area, Will Durst. He had a special that was a half hour on HBO. Rick Overton. Yeah, they gave specials to a lot of great comics back then.
Yeah.
Were you a big Saturday Night Live fan?
Let's see. Yes. I just don't remember the years that I watched. Let's see, like the Will Ferrell. I remember Eddie Murphy, Mike Myers, Dana Carvey, like Church Lady times.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I watched I listened to Dana Carvey and David Spade's podcast that they do every week, and he said that Rodney Dangerfield loved the Church Lady sketch, and he was scheduled to host when Ladybugs came out, and he said and when Lorne Michaels asked him to do it, he said he would do it on the condition that he would do a Church Lady sketch with Carvey, and then he ended up dropping out of it, and sadly never got to host again because he did host in 1980, but. Yeah, that would have been interesting to see a Church Lady sketch with Rodney Dangerfield in it.
I like Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh yeah, my dad took me to see Ladybugs. We were the only ones in the theater because it was such a box office flop.
But Back to School was Robert Downey Jr. in that.
Yeah, Back to School. That was a favorite in the house. Easy Money when. He's trying to get that fat kid to hold still to take a picture of him, and the grandma says, "Hey Monty, have you ever seen a face like his?" And he's like, "No, if I did, I'd remember it." Yeah, there's nobody like Rodney. He was the best. But like, I've been going on Facebook lately, and like everyone's been complaining about Saturday Night Live today. Just it's not funny as like it used to be. And there's good and bad years of the show throughout its history, but they're saying this is the worst era of Saturday Night Live now.
I don't know. Every year, everybody has something to say about, oh, it's not as good as it used to be. Oh, it's not as good as it used to be. Oh, it's not as good as it used to be. Like, I feel like every new cast group they're always saying it's not as good as it used to be. And I guess they're talking about Belushi times, but I don't know.
That was my favorite era. I have all 5 seasons from that era on DVD because I love it so much. And I've been lucky to interview people who were there, and it was just an amazing time. They did a lot of stuff you couldn't get away with now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%, yeah.
They did a sketch. Oh my God, I can't believe they even got away with it then. Where they did a sketch, they were doing a parody of like those cheesy sci-fi movies from the 50s. It was one where these aliens are attacking the NBC Plaza Center, and the entire building and the entire set, everybody was in on the joke. And I was like, how did they manage to make that happen? Because it looks so real. Like it almost looks like 9/11 happening. I mean, everyone's panicking, the camera's shaking, and everything. If they did that now, it would be a news story.
Sure.
You know, it's amazing how they got that done. It was crazy. It was the Robert Klein episode from 1978. If you're ever interested in going to check it out, yeah, it was like, wow, I can't believe they got away with that. Did you play a lot of board games as a kid?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, I was a big Clue guy.
I loved Clue. A lot of Twister, I remember.
How is it that no one's ever gotten injured from playing Twister?
Yeah, I don't know. I read a lot of Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Choose Your Own Adventure books, yeah, I remember those. My brother had some that were given to him from my dad's boss's, I think his daughter or something like that. And there was one about flying airplanes I had. There was one about being a cowboy in a western town and stuff. Yeah, oh God, I love the Choose Your Own Adventure books. Those are classics.
The best. And I got some from my son recently, and they're pretty cool. Like, I wasn't a big reader. I didn't really, I had some trouble with disability stuff, like learning to read. I think I had a little bit of dyslexia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But those books I could read. Also, the idea that, like, making choices in your life have consequences. And, like, you know, the idea that we get to pick how the book ends, like, we have some sort of creative control over which choices we make, was why I loved these books. And I'd read them and then go back and make the other choice.
Yeah.
You know, and, like, see where that one led me to. And, like, I think it's so good for, like, young adults kind of start making, you know, I felt powerful reading them. Like, I had some sort of agency over how the story went. And I feel like I kept that with me, like, my whole kind of life. I don't know. Interesting. But my son's getting into them now, too, so that's good. But he's a reader, so he's, like, reading Michael Crichton and stuff like that. And I'm like,
Michael Crichton, wow.
To read was a punishment sometimes, you know, like, it would be a punishment for me. My dad would be like, go read a book.
Michael Crichton warned us and nobody listened.
Yeah. But now I love to read, and I learned to love to read later on. Just wasn't something I liked early on. But Choose Your Own Adventure books were the best.
I had a sad reading experience recently, which I'll tell you about in a little bit. But I played Battleship and Sorry and Operation, you know, games like that.
Operation, yes. Played Operation, Yahtzee, Ouija board. It's not really a board game, but
oh God.
Some Monopoly, not so much. I don't know. Name some more. Let's see if I can remember.
Oh God, what's that? Uno?
Uno, yes, Uno. Yes, go play Uno.
There's Uno. Candyland, which I never understood.
Yes, Candyland.
I never got the appeal of that game.
Me Love Candyland. So pointless. Memory. I played Memory because I could play it by myself. Didn't need anyone to play with me.
Yeah.
And I would time myself and like challenge myself to see how fast I could do the thing. It was so good for my brain. And I would do that for hours. Hours and hours and hours.
Have you ever played Cards Against Humanity?
I've been at friends' houses. They pulled it out, and then we haven't ended up playing. But my friends play it. I haven't yet. Oh,
you'll have a blast. It is so wrong and so hilarious. It is the best game ever. I remember being at this house party. My friend, his neighbors. I was hanging out with them for a while years ago, and like they had this this couple there. The wife I became friends with, and I've had her on the podcast twice. She had her mother. Her mother was like straight from Hamburg, Germany, accent and everything. Loved to smoke pot, loved to engage in locker room talk. We played Cards Against Humanity, and it was just so hilariously twisted and one of the best evenings ever, I'll tell you.
That's cool.
Do you remember the first album you ever bought with your own money?
I had my own money? Okay, I did have records. So I had Michael Jackson, where he had the tiger.
Oh, yes, that's the tiger version of Thriller.
Yeah, I had that. I looked at that all the time. I played that all the time. I remember just looking at his veins that would pop out of his wrist when he was holding the tiger.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, is he hurting the tiger? Like, that was my main concern. I was like, how hard is he hurting him for those veins to be sticking out like that? Or tendons or whatever they were. That one, Rick Springfield.
Yep.
The Jesse's Girl album, whatever the heck.
Working Class Dog.
With the dog. Yeah.
Yeah, Working Class Dog.
He had like ties on or something. That guy looks so good now. Holy crap. He's like 70-something. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
How is that even possible? He's like so ripped. Crazy.
Oh yeah, there was Jesse's Girl and I've Done Everything for You, and then he did Success Hasn't Spoiled Me Yet, which also has the dog on the cover, and that has Don't Talk to Strangers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to get that now. I have to get it because it's going to bring me way back. I mean, I still hear Jesse's Girl occasionally, but I don't hear the rest of them.
Yeah, then the next album was Living in Oz. I mean, he had a nice little run in there in the 80s.
Oh, yeah, I was obsessed. I think I was like in third grade, I think, when that came out or something. Oh, my God. And then I remember I had a crush on a boy named Jesse in my class.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you it was only because of that song.
Probably.
I wanted to just be like, I'm Jesse's Girl.
I was an MTV kid. The first two albums I bought with my own birthday money were Phil Collins' No Jacket Required and Poison's Look What the Cat Dragged In.
Oh, nice. That's nice, yeah. Good. I had, let's see what else did I have. I had NWA Boys in the Hood.
Yeah, my brother had that album.
The 8, it was like the single or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then what else did I have? And then I had like probably some Cure albums.
Did you have Tiffany?
Huh? No, I did not. So that's right when everybody got weird. So, I got weird probably. At that point, I stopped listening to anything really mainstream. So 7th grade is when I got into like The Cure and
I love The Cure.
ska music and some punk rock stuff. So like all the way through high school when everyone was into like NSYNC and the New Kids on the Block, whatever thing was. I didn't any of that.
I loved New Kids on the Block. All the boys called me a girl because I loved New Kids on the Block.
Yeah. I didn't know the names of those guys. I did not listen, didn't own an album, none of it. I was into like Susie and the Banshees and, kind of different stuff.
I was a big Ramones kid.
Oh, I love Ramones. Yeah, great. Good. Yeah.
Let's see, were you into the Go-Go's and the Bangles?
Not so much, but I think I did so I went to performing arts school.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in dance production in junior high school. So if I wasn't working, like if I wasn't on set somewhere, then I'd be at my school, and I'd be part of dance production, and we would get to choreograph our own dances and like put all the dancers and do the choreography and like pick the music and stuff like that. And I think I did a Bengals song for one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the extent that I listened to the Bengals.
Yeah, I was also with the Wilson Phillips. I'm trying to get Carney Wilson on the show. It's a little hard right now. She just started a cooking show.
Oh, yeah. She's great.
Yeah. Did your parents have like a big box of vinyl records?
My parents? No.
No.
My parents, my mom's not with us anymore.
Yeah.
She passed like a while ago now. My goodness. So crazy. It just like it gets easier just with time, and then, but it's still, she's still with me. I don't know. But they had some records I remember growing up, and they would be like, your 70s type stuff. But they weren't into music too much, my parents.
Interesting.
My dad is into like big band stuff and still is.
Yeah.
So like Dizzy Gillespie and stuff like that. He was like so he grew up like 50s, right? And he was into like 30s music, even in the 50s. So he didn't. If you told him who's Led Zeppelin, he'd be like, I don't know. But if you asked him some, big name, big band person, he would certainly know and would play you a song and name you the song. But he also played the banjo.
Mm-hmm.
So my great-grandfather played the banjo as well, and he was part of the Orpheus Players downtown in the 1920s, I guess.
Wow.
So they went on tour, like vaudeville type stuff, but he was a paid banjo guy. So his son, my grandfather, and then my dad both played on albums playing the banjo.
Wow, I did not know that. That is so cool.
Yeah. My great-grandfather died early, though. He died at like 30-something. And then his wife died within 6 months afterwards.
Wow.
Yeah. And so my grandfather was like 15 and had like 2 younger siblings, and so he had to like take care of them.
Oh.
That shit, Really sad.
Do you remember your first concert?
First concert. I feel like I want to say it was like Richard Marx or something at like Magic Mountain or Knott's Berry Farm or something, where there was like a concert.
Who opened? Robbie Neville?
It might have been. I don't remember. That was before it certainly wasn't Rick Springfield.
Yeah.
And it certainly wasn't,
he played our local fair about 20 years ago. I wanted to go see Rick Springfield, but I never got to, sadly.
Yeah. No. And then in 7th grade, a great concert I went to was The Cure at the Dodger Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was 8th grade. And we had front row on the field The Cure tickets. That was freaking amazing.
Wow.
But I had gone to see a lot of bands play, like locally and stuff, way too young to be going to see bands play. But I was into music, so kind of doing that pretty early on. I think Violent Femmes in 7th grade, and
I saw Steppenwolf when I was 15, and
wow.
John Kay's the only original member, and for me it didn't matter. He's very charismatic and funny, but all the 40 and 50-year-olds there, it looked like the magic was gone for them.
Oh, well, yeah, fans grow with you, age, hopefully.
And then I saw Alice Cooper when I was 17. We just lost a really bad football game at my high school, and I was so devastated. But this was a great end to a great day, to a bad day, and it turned into a good day. And oh my God, he is a showman. He does so many songs, and I forgot how he got killed at the end, because he gets killed at the end of every concert. I think he got stabbed or something, or electrocuted or something.
Oh wow, that sounds very showman-like.
That's what Alice does. He's been doing it since day one. Wait, he'll always do it. Yeah.
Who is it? Alice Cooper?
Alice Cooper, yeah.
Oh God, that's great. I didn't hear that's who you were talking about. Oh yeah, I've never seen him live. That would be pretty spectacular.
It is. I recommend it. Go see him live. He's great. Do you remember your first makeout song?
Makeout song? No.
Mine was Janet Jackson's Love Will Never Do Without You.
Okay. Sounds good. I don't know how to make out song.
It's a sexy song, at least.
Yeah.
So how's your book doing? Did it do well?
I mean, I think pretty average, I guess. I don't know. I mean, there's people, I don't know what to say. It's still out there. It's still, people are buying it, and that's great.
Mm-hmm.
So I recommend everyone to buy it if they want to understand the terms and the foundations of acting. I think people are, it's just shocking to me how, and this isn't just my opinion, this is kind of like across the board, with the TikTok revolution and the,
Mm-hmm.
Instagrams and stuff, and nobody wants to take the time to learn to do anything. They want to learn it in 3-minute increments, you know? And they want, and I don't think shortcuts is a new invention, like people trying to take shortcuts, but you don't want to go to a doctor that's like, oh, I want you to do surgery on me. Oh, how long have you studied? Oh, I took a 5-day course, taught me everything I need to know to be a pro surgical person, surgical doctor. People just kind of I don't know, they're just trying to make money off people, and so.
I know, it's disgusting.
It's tough. It's tough. But the people I do have is great, and we're working on some films that we're doing. We're doing 5 or 6 shorts this year. We're working on a vampire short we're shooting next week.
Oh, awesome.
So the first, it's basically a 2-person piece, each short, in different genres and different kind of things. But they're about 10 pages each, so about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes each. And it's really good acting, it's powerful storytelling, micro budget, but it's stuff that it's kind of like how theater used to be in terms of having theater companies and stuff like that. So it's kind of like we have it for doing film now.
Mm-hmm.
So we're generating some buzz that way and just interest,
Yeah.
We ask people that want to create and do stuff. So it's so fun. And so that we're shooting next week. I have to figure out how I'm going to fly off a building safely. Figure it out.
That is so awesome. Yeah, but the classes are going good, though?
Classes are going good. Yeah, we're over at 5150 Action now, which is Mike Gunther's studio.
Mm-hmm.
He gave us a home. He gave me a home there, which is great. And he did Fast and the Furious, Quiet Place. He does all the action stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's so Transformers and stuff. So he's basically the guy that does all the directing for all the action stuff.
Wow.
And then he's also a director himself, so he also has a few movies out. Rogue Warfare, I think, was a trilogy that he did with my friend Will Lee. That's on Netflix. Anyway, so he gave us the space, and it's really great. I mean, I could not be more grateful.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's good,
Yeah. I saw all these 5-star reviews, on your Yelp and everything. I was like, oh, that is so awesome. Alyson is just loved by everybody.
Oh, well, that's not true. Guess what? I got this, hate or whatever, and I was like, okay, good. At first I was like, why would this guy come and make this comment? Why do you need to make any comment at all?
Yeah.
Are you here to promote your acting classes on my place, on my space? Why would you do that? It's not like I'm getting gazillion amounts of, likes on these things.
Yeah.
But, why would you need to do that? And then I had to think about it and go, you know what? You don't get criticized by people doing better than you. And that's a true statement. It's hard to kind of wrap your head around, but,
yeah.
He didn't need to do that, but he felt compelled.
I know.
Why? Because he needed to kind of assert his, maybe it was Memorial Day and he'd been drinking and made a bad choice. But I just took the comment down, but it was interesting,
Yeah.
I know I'm doing the right thing when people are getting ruffled, right?
Yeah. What? We got any birthday plans?
I'm teaching, actually. And
Nice.
we're doing this really great exercise in class, the animal exercise, which is one of my favorite acting exercises
Yeah.
to do. It is so fun, and it's really put up or shut up kind of an exercise. So that's what I'm doing on my birthday.
Yeah, I'll probably do what I do every year, have a nice dinner, and then masturbate twice.
Gross. Okay.
So let me tell you, I read a book back in February. It was a memoir from a guest of mine, and I just read it out of my own volition. She didn't tell me to read it. I just read it out of my own volition. And there's a chapter in there about how she met her boyfriend that she's been with for the past decade. She met him at a trivia night in 2013. And in 2013, I was a trivia champion, and I didn't fall in love. I drank beer, won prizes, and pissed everybody off that year. And so I started crying for the next 2 weeks, and I've been miserable ever since. I'm going through a midlife crisis after reading that book. I'm like, I got to step up my game and find, my future partner.
Hey, this is the last 2 weeks you've been crying?
No, this was back in, this was like late February. But like, I've been miserable ever since is what I've been saying. But for 2 weeks, I cried nonstop.
What book is this that you read?
I'll tell you off air. But like, yeah, that chapter, oh my God, it just made me cry. It's just like, I haven't gotten jealous probably in about 8 years. Like, I've been happy being single until I read this chapter.
Oh.
Because when I read that a fellow nerd fell in love, I was like, oh God, like, what am I doing,
Oh, it'll come when it comes,
I hope.
You're doing something, though. You're doing what you love to do, right?
I am. I mean...
It's not going to, it doesn't keep you... you'd rather be... I don't know. That's how I look at it anyway. I don't have time for a lot of... I'm single as well, so... But it's okay. I mean, I have my son, which is a full-time kind of thing,
Yeah. Well, you're an independent, strong woman, and I think your mom would be very proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
Of course.
Now I'm going to cry. Don't make me cry, Tommy.
Won't. Oh, it's National Belly Button Month.
Oh, again with the belly button. Yeah.
Yes. Would you ever date a man with an outie?
Probably.
Really?
If he was a nice person, I wouldn't discount him because he had an outie.
Well, about 15 years ago, I went on a date with a girl, and she told me if I had an outie, it would be a major deal breaker. And of course, I don't. But it didn't work out anyways.
Get sick. She's going to be out? Oh, no. That's a deal breaker. You can't get sick. Guess what? We get old and we get sick. It just happens. So you want someone that's going to be a little more stable than that.
Well, she said, if you do have an outie, keep your shirt on at all times. Yep, there's a lot of weird ones out there. But Alyson, I thank you so much for nerding out with me today, and I hope your birthday is awesome. And
thank you. I hope your birthday is awesome too. When's your birthday?
On Thursday.
Oh, the 6th.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
The same day as Robert Englund and Dwight Twilley.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. When I met Robert Englund, I told him, I said, we got the same birthday. He's like, Gemini. So, you have yourself a great rest of your day and be safe out there.
All right, you too, Tommy. Thank you so much.
You too.
Birthday.
Happy birthday.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Alyson Croft. Ain't she a sweetheart? Oh, she always is. She's just an amazing, strong, independent woman, like I said. And I can't believe anybody would give her a negative review on Yelp. That is so messed up. I mean, just beyond awful. That hurts me to no end, but at least it's not there anymore. It's erased. Good. Because you don't need that kind of negative energy. That is just so awful. Well, until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.